It should be Dak's last year in Dallas. For Dak Prescott's sake. For Dak Prescott.
So David Helman has some words he wanted to get off his chest regarding Dak Prescott. He wanted to finally break his silence and say what he truly has to say.
I am ready to see this experiment end. I'm ready to see something new. And he can go somewhere that, A, doesn't make him fight so hard for his money every single time he's up for a contract. B, wouldn't it be fun to finally get an answer to all of these questions?
Whose fault is it?
Who's really at fault, Dak Prescott or the Dallas Cowboys? C, maybe my guy would earn a little bit more appreciation, because you cannot tell me a guy with Dak's resume would catch half the hate if he played for any other team in the NFL.
So let's unpack that right there. He had 3 points. So he wants to see something new. He said the experiment, he called it an experiment for one, this tenure here in Dallas. That's a very interesting choice of words. Here's my rebuttal. Are we sure this was an experiment? Because, or is this a series of bad tests where the scientists didn't even try, where the front office really didn't even try? Because I said it's just been a bunch of discombobulation his entire year, in my opinion. Nothing actually worked. Like it was never a continuation. It wasn't a solidified foundation. He's had 2 head coaches. Jason Garrett is being his last year in 2019. I did not like Jason Garrett as a coach whatsoever. Mike McCarthy until now. He's had 3 different coordinators. Scott Linehan and his prehistoric and his generic offense. Kellen Moore and his overcomplicated offense, and showing his cards early. And when it comes to the end of the season, when it comes to playoffs, he's outmatched, he's outcoached in every single series. And then Mike McCarthy, first year, he's damn near an MVP. First year. And even then, Mike McCarthy still has some questionable play calling in there. Let's really deep dive into this. Let's start by, like, I think when he came in, he had Dez as his number 1, but Dez was waning. They ended up, whatever happened with Dez happened. Cole Beasley is gone. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about that time. There's a time in between before he had Amari Cooper, and they traded for him in the middle of the season. They got him in 2018, and then traded him away for a bag of chips, a 5th round pick in 2020. Let's talk about the wasted primes that we had during his tenure that didn't really match up. Let's talk about when we had Dez, when we had Zeke, when we had Jason Witten. Let's talk about with him inheriting a O-line that was previously built for Tony Romo. Let's talk about the inconsistencies on defense. Let's talk about it. He recently had a comparable defense under Dan Quinn, and I'm talking about the first 2 years. Let's talk about it. It was only comparable because of the turnover ratio he was creating. So you're talking about this experiment, and I'm just seeing inconsistencies across the board. Peanut butter with no jelly, hamburger with no cheese. Like it's one or the other. B, you want to talk about who's really at fault? I mean, where to begin? First of all, I talked about it. Dak really had in his tenure, I think it's been 7 to 8 seasons. Half of his seasons here, he had an average to below average defense. Okay, but we claim he had these monumentals of rosters around him. Not to mention when he was hurt. Not to mention his running back dealing with injuries and everything like that. Dan Quinn's defense that we just had. Yeah, I mean, this was the first time he actually had a solid defense, but even that defense, the only thing they did good was get turnovers. I went over countless times that Dan Quinn scheme foundationally was terrible. Like, we still couldn't, after his 3 years there, we still did not solve the problem of defending the run. And then we even wasted draft capital on that. And it may not be all of Dan Quinn's fault. Let's bring the front office. We're gonna keep going back to the front office. They got a hand in it as well. I heard reports Dan Quinn wanted Wagner. Cowboys front office wasn't giving them the money that they wanted. Just let's talk about all of these rosters that when all of the inconsistencies with this team, whether it be wide receiver 2, whether choosing to pay Gallup over Amari Cooper. All of these are just terrible malpractices within this organization. But you really want to ask the question of who is really at fault? Is it really a question of if Dak is really at fault here? Let's go over it. Since you want to make playoff wins a QB stat, let's go over each playoff. 2016, Green Bay, rookie year, great offense, breakout gear, had Zeke came onto the scene. How did we lose that game? I blame that on the defense. Why I blame it on the defense? Because Dak walked off the field with the lead. And it was the great quarterback Aaron Rodgers was playing in that game. So, I mean, I can't continually, fault them at that, but y'all want to, knock that against Dak and count that as a QB stat. Next year, 2018, he beat Seattle. Okay, phenomenal game in there. No one wants to talk about that. He beats Russell Wilson while he was still at not the peak of his powers, but he wasn't who he is today. He went to LA and faced the Rams. Lost that game. Defense gave up, I think it was 300 yards rushing on the ground. If you know X's and O's, if you giving up that much yardage on the run game, you are at the mercy of the other team. They're taking the air out the ball. They have the clock. I shouldn't have to get into that because you should know X's and O's already. Let's go to the next time we make it to the playoffs, which is 2021, and this is San Francisco. Okay, let's. It was a slip up in the end. I put this on a team loss. You can count this towards Dak, in my opinion. You really can. Let's go to 2022. Beat Tom Brady, makes him retire, and then we face San Francisco. In my opinion, this was the rare time when we saw the defense actually show up and show out in this game. This game was fully on Dak in 2022, in my opinion, because they did everything they needed to do. Just one touchdown would have won them the game. And then let's go to 2023. Should I even bring that up? Should we even bring that up? Is it really on Dak from that game? Really? I have countless I want to blame, but who I blame is really Dan Quinn. I went into a whole spiel on that. Let's on how it's amazing how we overlook all these deficiencies. The NFL allowing people to take interviews during the playoffs. In my opinion, I'm still absurd of that rule. This is why I love college football for so much, because the moment you want to start looking at other teams and you get hired, the NCAA rules in state. Oh, you can let your players know in practice, but when it's time for the game, you sit your behind over there at the end of the damn end zone, and you can't coach the team. You cannot, because if you have a hand in it, that means you can affect our output, because the school is going to outlast the coach. Obviously, we saw that in Green Bay. We saw things he never done all season, but he took it back to ground zero in that game. We went back to playing zone on just random downs, just not playing man, not aggressive, just leaving our linebackers on the island, not just giving our defenses just free will, defensive line free will. Countless things. Now Dak has a hand in that. He has a pick six. He has etc. But the momentum on that game was, in my opinion, was on the defense, and I blame the defense on that. But you can count it to Dak as well. But that was a team loss. I'm just trying to debunk why you want to give Dak the blame, because you want to say playoff wins and losses are on the quarterback and the quarterback alone. And then C, you saying he should leave because he will get more appreciation and on another team. I'm sorry, but that man that you sitting across from, Shady McCoy, the one that played in the NFL, guys like him is the reason why y'all are so absurd and y'all don't use y'all damn brain when y'all get up there and y'all just going for clicks and baits. You, my friend David Helman, have played a part in this. So why are you over here? Oh, Dak should leave because he should be appreciated more. The media is one of the main reasons why you name bash him. No, I'm not seeing not one player get called ass on national television. What cuss words? I'm not pushing narratives in negotiations. I know it comes from the Jones family, but you know who's the hounds and the dogs who are pushing this narrative every day? Every day, no matter who's playing in the Super Bowl, it's you guys. You guys push the narrative. You guys play a hand in this, and you have the nerve to come up here and say he'll be appreciated more. You're the whole reason why he's not appreciated. Everyone in the media is doing the Joneses dirty work. And he's not the only one. If you're thinking this is what the Cowboys do for all their players when it's time to play, I don't agree with it. I think it's dumb. And if you shouldn't be pushing this narrative, they're doing it with Micah. They do it with the team option, listed him as an edge over like a linebacker, which cost him like $3 to $5 million. They did it with Tyler Smith. Yeah, he had an all-pro year at guard, but we drafted him at left tackle. They moved him from left tackle and now keeping him at guard. And you should know it. Look up the market for left tackle and left guard, okay? Tyron Smith. They asked Tyron Smith to take pay cut after pay cut after pay cut after pay cut after pay cut. Talk about we're going to contribute and do this. And I'm going to come back to that because $90 million in cap. They had one season and they didn't do anything with it. CeeDee Lamb, they pushing narratives about CeeDee Lamb, talking about how he's not a leader. They did it with Micah. They said he was not a leader. Trayvon Diggs took a massive discount at the peak of him close to setting the record or broken the record, and he signed that low of a contract to do it with, to do the betterment of the team. And what have we done with that money? And the allegations of Dak, y'all is Dak a leader? Y'all push these narratives. Y'all help the cause. So I'm just mightily confused when you sit up here and say he will be appreciated more. You are contributing to the problem, my friend.
Dak Prescott was out here with the LA Rams, or I think Matthew Stafford is a hell of a. I'm not talking about their accomplishments, but just in terms of how they're perceived. Matthew Stafford lacking success in Detroit. Did not catch a lot of flack for it because he played for the Detroit Lions. Comes out to LA for a well-run organization in the LA Rams, wins a Super Bowl. I could see Dak Prescott, catching a hell of a lot less.
See, let me cut you off there. You just literally proved my point and you answered one of your questions talking about who's really at fault. Matthew Stafford and the Detroit Lions. When he was with the Detroit Lions, the best player he had in his career was Megatron, one of the best wide receivers ever, Ndamukong Suh. Can you name any other Lions running back that or the teams that he had, he could have won a Super Bowl legitimately any tenure in his time with Detroit? No, you can't. So and you're comparing him moving to LA. You know the difference between LA and Detroit? The moment they went all in. They went all in. That's the main gist behind it. They cashed in all of their first round picks. They went to go get they signed guys who are on the end of their career, but they're still impactful. Von Miller, they had Odell, not to mention combination of great seasons by Aaron Donald and the Triple Crown with Cooper Kupp. It was a big culmination, and they went out and they went the extra mile to do it. They signed a safety, Harrison Smith. Like, they went the extra mile to do it, and it was the front office. It's to prove that, yeah, like the front office is what to blame. And you talking about who Matthew Stafford didn't get as much flack because he was playing for the Detroit Lions. That's y'all's fault. Y'all sit up here and talk about the same few people every week.
Maybe both sides could even benefit from a break. We talked about it earlier this week. Dallas has got to pay CD. They got to pay Micah Parsons. To their credit, it'd be a hell of a lot easier to do that without a big quarterback contract on the books. And we'll see how well the Cowboys can replicate this success.
So now here you go. That statement right there contributes to you're hiding the big overarching problem. You talk about all these people we have to pay. CD, Micah, Dak. Whose fault is it that they waited this long for the price tag to get this high and for the time to get this difficult, while at the same time creating a bigger and bigger storyline to fault Dak, to guilt trip Dak into signing for less money? Whose fault is that? Like, it's not hard to really take a deep. Y'all just prove every day y'all don't like the man. You don't like him. And you don't like him because he's what team he plays for, which is mind-boggling to me. You just talked about that last week. Trevor Lawrence has got his $55 million a year. No one talks about that. When was the last time he done anything? And like, let's ask these questions. When has Jared Goff anything? But he's the one getting paid. I understand he just took his team to the NFC Championship. He didn't take them there. It was the team. But it just shows me y'all turn off y'all brains and y'all just go fully in the. y'all lean fully into that side clickbaity side when y'all talk about Dak Prescott. Y'all fully want to go for the crazy with the insane takes and not ever want to use your brain. Let's talk about y'all pushed it, and I blame y'all because most of the NFL fan base is casuals, and most of the Cowboys fan base is casuals, and y'all push this narrative. Oh, we paying Dak, who hasn't won playoff games, over $35 million, and I got it right here showing his cap hit every year. Every year, he's finna really. I think this upcoming year finna hit over. I think $30 million. There's one outlier year, but I think that outlier year. No, I'm for sure that one outlier year is when they franchise tagged them. If you know, the franchise tag is a flat number that counts against the cap, rather than if they would have wrote that a contract, it would have counted as less. They can mess with the cap hit, rather than they let the franchise tag hit and then they paid. So it looked even crazier on the books because, and they done this. The Cowboys have done this with multiple players. But this is y'all don't report this side because you know what, it's the truth, and y'all just trying to push a narrative that's gonna sell a narrative. You're trying to sell a narrative, but you want to get up here and talk about like how he needs to leave. He's not appreciated. You think we don't know that? We've been saying it, and you're part of the problem, man. Like it's fake Cowboy, it's fake Dak haters who claim themselves to be Cowboy fans like him. They really piss me off because y'all prove each and every day y'all don't know football. Y'all just didn't go with the flow. You with the temperature of the room. You want to move on so quickly. What is your plan after Dak Prescott? Do you really think Trey Lance is the answer? Because he was a former first overall lottery pick, first top 3 pick, and the team that drafted him didn't want him. They didn't want to keep him on as a backup. That's saying something. But you think he's the next great quarterback? Dak is a top 10 quarterback in the league, and y'all want to get rid of him. Just cause. Like we're gonna have, and he's coming off an MVP season, but we want to get rid of him. Look, and I'm one of the first ones after the Green Bay loss. I am literally changing my. I said I want to get rid of Dak, but now I'm thinking about it. No, like after taking time to think about it, no, we need to pay him, and he deserves his money. He deserves every dime. Because yes, the quarterback market, but what he's done for us and the combination of what the Cowboys have done for him, pay him. I hate that he gets all this blame. The context get thrown. Everything is jaded, blurred. No one wants to talk about the real facts. No one wants to talk about what really happened. Everyone wants to talk about the overarching and what's going to get them what's going to paint him in the bad light. And they just only want to see him in the bad light. And it comes back to the free agency of the Dallas Cowboys. I commend, even though I hate these teams, front offices like San Francisco and Philly, because when they know they have a guy and they know they have a window, they lean in on it and they do things. They go into free agency. They draft. They don't rely only on the draft. They make moves. They make trades. They fill in holes and fill in gaps to make sure they have a solidified roster, top to bottom, when going into the playoffs, and not relying on heroics. I commend franchises like across the way and here in Dallas, like the Mavericks. The Mavericks just did the exact same thing. They've been trying countless times. They know they have a player and they know they have a window. They're leaning in, they made moves and they shirred up, and guess what? It got them into the finals. It got them a chance to go at the championship. But no, they're not sitting around punching out narratives to ESPN, to Fox, to the local neighborhood networks, blaming the main guy. Man, I'll tell you the truth, boy. Y'all Cowboys fans right here. Until next time, peace.